Hello, I am Gene Haidamaka. I'm an integrations engineer here at Branch, and today we're going to go over Android integration testing. Before we begin, let's go over some of the prerequisites for Android testing. This video assumes that you have completed basic Android integration following our documentation. For testing purposes, it would also be very useful if your application was able to create or share branch links. Now that we've covered all the prerequisites, let's go over what we're actually going to be testing today. First of all, we will of course test that opening the application actually launches Branch SDK every time. Then we will test that clicking on the branch link actually opens the application. We will also test that all the deep link data from the link that was just clicked is passed correctly. And lastly, if you have implemented link creation or sharing into your application, we will test that too. So let's hop into the testing. For this purpose, I will use our testbed application that is readily available on GitHub to anybody who would like to try Branch without having to actually integrate it at first. In order to test efficiently, we will have to enable Branch SDK logging. For that, we will simply have to call Branch's enable logging method in the onStart callback of your main activity. Make sure to call enable logging method before initializing a branch session with an init session. Now that we have installed our application onto a virtual device, let's begin testing. It is best to begin by simply opening the application and verifying that Branch SDK has been initialized. Let's take a closer look at what logs were actually shown to us by the Branch SDK. First of all, it notifies us about us actually using a branch test key, which simply means that all the traffic that we generate will be sent to our test environment and not our live environment. It also means that only our test links will end up returning any data back into the application. Then we're able to see that Branch SDK has posted an open event to Branch's backend, letting Branch's backend know that a new app open was registered. And lastly, we're able to see the actual data that was posted to the v1 open endpoint. This dataset contains a lot of useful information that can be used for your testing purposes. For example, you could verify that the branch key that the SDK was initialized with is the correct branch key. You can also see whether a branch link was clicked prior to opening the application, and if so, you will even be able to see which link was clicked exactly. Upon successful backgrounding, we will see that a posting was made to a v1 close endpoint at Branch. This lets Branch know that the application was closed. The post value with all the data that was sent to the v1 close endpoint is also attached, and you can use it for your debugging purposes. For best results, it's best to open and background the application multiple times, making sure that you bring the application to the foreground from the background or as if you were launching it for the first time. Now that we have verified that the SDK is being initialized correctly, let's test the actual deep linking. There are two ways to test this. You could either create the link within the application, which is the safest and easiest way to do so, if you already have link creation or sharing implemented into your application. If not, you can just go ahead and create a quick link in your Branch dashboard. For testing purposes, our testbed SDK does have the functionality to create links within the application, so I will go ahead and just use that method. Once I click the refresh short URL, Branch SDK returns specific logs to indicate that a branch link was successfully created and returned. We're able to actually view all of the data the link was created with in the logs. We're not going to go into that as everybody's data is going to be different, but we can test whether our link actually works. To do so, I will go ahead and copy the link. Once the link is copied, I will paste it into the messenger of my liking. In this case, I will use a simple SMS messenger. Once the message is sent, I can go ahead and simply click on the link. Android now provided me with the option to open the link in the application, which indicates that the branch linking has been set up correctly. I will go ahead and click just once, which will open the application successfully and provide a prompt that the application was launched successfully via branch link. Now let's take a look at the logs. Using these logs, we're able to identify which link was actually clicked in order to open the application, and we're able to see which link data was actually returned by Branch's backend into the application. And here you have it. We fully tested our branch SDK, we were able to verify that the SDK is being initialized correctly, and we were able to open the application via branch links, and link data is being successfully returned into the application. This is all the main branch functionality that we need to test in order to make sure that the integration has been performed correctly. This concludes our Android integration testing guide. If you still have any questions, you will most likely find your answers at docs.branch.io, or you could reach out to our integrations team on integrations@branch.io. I hope you found this guide helpful. Have a great rest of your day, and happy deep linking.